Fox News alert overnight, the Trump administration securing another win, announcing a major tariff deal with China. Trade will be one of the major issues on the agenda when the president makes his high-stakes trip, and the first one to the Middle East. He's going overseas today. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt joins us now. Caroline, we're just mentioning there's probably 7 major stories. I know I'm going to disappoint somebody by not bringing it up. First off, your reaction, and what could you tell us about the China deal that has tariffs dropping from 145, 125 respectively to 30 and 10?
This is an extraordinary first step in the right direction. And thanks to the strength of President Trump, Secretary Bessent and Ambassador Greer were able to cut this initial deal with China. China agreed to reduce their tariffs on the United States by 115%. They also agreed to continue having discussions about opening Chinese markets to American-made products and goods. And they also agreed to continue seriously discussing the grave impact that Chinese-produced fentanyl is having right here in the United States and our people. So this is a great first step for the American public, and Secretary Bessent, Ambassador Greer, and of course President Trump will continue negotiations with China so we can hopefully inevitably get to a fair and comprehensive big trade deal.
Do you know yet, Caroline, if they're going to unfreeze their rare earth and the magnets that we use for our technical equipment as well as our military equipment?
I do understand that was part of the discussion, but I also know that the administration is working overtime 24/7 with a dedicated team to onshore that very critical supply chain here at home. We need to be producing those magnets, those rare earth minerals, and also look at pharmaceuticals, look at semiconductors. There are critical supply chains that we have been dependent on other countries for far too long. So while we continue to negotiate these good and fair trade deals, we will also continue to boost our domestic manufacturing here at home to strengthen our national security.
All right.
So no, she just needs to say no. The American people need straight yes and no answers. I understand that, you know, the way they need to word certain things because they don't want the administration to look bad or look a certain way. But the American people only care about what the answer is. It's either yes or no. Are they willing to negotiate that, or are they willing to work with us in getting those things so that way we can provide our own products here in America, or just still negotiating all talk? And from what she said with all those words, it's just negotiating all talk. We need, and it's only for 90 days. What, 3 months? That's in 3 months. What, we're gonna go back to doing tariffs again? Like, what exactly? I need to know exactly what happened with this deal.
Deal, the framework for a China deal. Is there another deal queued up, ready to go today before you leave?
Well, look, we told you the next 100 days would consist of peace deals and trade deals, and that's exactly what we have seen. The president announced last week the big trade deal with the UK, as you mentioned. Now we have a first deal with China. Just yesterday, the president announced the release of the last remaining American hostage in Gaza, Eden Alexander, who will soon be united with his loving family. God bless him. That's thanks to President Trump. We also negotiated a ceasefire with the Houthis, and President Trump was instrumental in negotiating a ceasefire with India and Pakistan. This is all in the last week.
Okay.
President Trump and his team are working incredibly hard on behalf of the country and the world to secure peace deals and trade deals. And don't forget, we have a tax deal coming too. The administration is working with Capitol Hill to sign the largest tax cuts in American history right now.
So this pharmaceutical deal, I'm just going off the Truth Social post. It says, it's a long one, but he says, I'm pleased to announce that today, the White House at 9 o'clock will be signing one of the most consequential executive orders ever. They will be reducing pharmaceuticals by about 80%. Essentially, we are going to pay less than the country that's paying the least for pharmaceuticals from here on in. How does that work?
First of all, it cannot be overstated how big of a deal this executive order that President Trump will be signing in a couple of hours is for American families, and especially our seniors who have been ripped off by very large and rich pharmaceutical companies. The United States of America is less than 5% of the world's population, yet we purchase 75% of Big Pharma's profits. We pay an astronomical amount in comparison to other countries around the world. So the president is signing an executive order today that is going to implement most favored nations drug pricing and is going to reduce the cost of drugs in this country by more than half at least. America is going to pay a better rate and a fairer rate to the rest of the world. That's what the American people deserve. This is huge news. And also, I will add, we know that healthcare costs and drug prices were the #1 driver of Biden inflation. So not only are we bringing those down, but we are ending Biden inflation once and for all.
Can you clarify that Qatar is giving us a new Air Force One as a personal gift to President Trump? Are they gifting it to the country? What could you tell us about this luxury liner? We are going to pay less than the country that's paying the least for pharmaceuticals from here on in. How does that work?
How does that work is the question. She didn't answer the question, in my opinion. I didn't. If you guys heard the answer, please leave it in the comments. But a lot of these people, what they like to do is reporters ask some good ass questions sometimes, and then when they answer, the opposite person starts answering the question, they start making their answer into a book, and to the point where, as you're listening to them, you kind of forget what the initial question was. And you go along with what they're saying because they're saying things that you already heard and already agree with. This is what I'm getting right now in this interview, and I'm not liking this interview at all.
First of all, it cannot be overstated how
Air Force One as a personal gift to President Trump. Clarify that Qatar is giving us a new Air Force One as a personal gift to President Trump. Are they gifting it to the country? What could you tell us about this luxury liner that looks like a hotel in the air?
Well, the Qatari government has graciously offered to donate a plane to the Department of Defense. The legal details of that are still being worked out. But of course, any donation to this government is always done in full compliance with the law. And we commit ourselves to the utmost transparency, and we will continue to do that.
Do you worry that if they give us something like this, they want something in return?
Absolutely not, because they know President Trump and they know he only works with the interests of the American public in mind.
So, Caroline, it was a great Mother's Day, I imagine, for you.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always give and take. People don't just donate, especially from other countries, especially to the United States during this time. Like, what would be their reason? I would really like to know what would be their reason to donate a jet to the president of our country. I hope they're doing a full scan of this Air Force One jet that they're donating to our country. We don't know anybody's intention on this planet when it comes to negotiation deals and what Trump is actually set to do and what he said he was going to do before he became the president of the United States. And now that things have been in motion and it's been a year, things like this need to have a little question mark or a little asterisk next to it to make sure that there's fair dealings going on, or making sure to the American, or letting the American people know that there's nothing behind closed doors. The administration has said repeatedly in the very beginning they're full transparent with the American people. Let's hope they continue this the entire presidency. And for the future. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Till next time. Peace out, everybody.